Welcome to a new Let's Play, everybody. This is ESPN X Games Skateboarding. Made by Konami, basically with, ESPN on the name and all. It is an interesting game, to say the least. Would I say it's a good game? Not exactly. I will say, though, that it does have some moments. It does have some interesting stuff to it. It's just ultimately very bleh. Also, I'm going to overlay the menu music into the low music because they are not copyrighted, unlike the actual music here, like, Newfound Glory and such. As well as the fucking intro song that they use, which I overlaid with something else from, Lord Loud. The song that was originally on here was Linkin Park, A Place in My Head, so yeah, I obviously can't put Linkin Park into this video. But, there are a few things to go into. For instance, there is this quick stuff here. There is watching the trailer for Winter X Games 2002. There is the others, which is just like score, attack mode, and free skate, and score versus and all of that. It's just score stuff, who cares? It's practice, it's arcade mode, and it's X Games, where you can do it for first person, or you can do it against a friend. I'm gonna go through practice first, because the way practice works, it kind of acts like its own arcade. You'll see what I mean when we get to arcade next part. But right now, we're going to go in through practice. We're going to see the tutorial demos first, all 5 of them. It's just going to be the game's showing us how to do things. And the way this game works, that it prefers for you to use the left analog stick for tricking. Which I find to be incredibly awkward. And this game does something that very few games do, one such game in particular being Simpsons Skateboarding. So the very fact I'm even mentioning that, considering how hated that game is when it comes to skateboarding games, despite the fact I protect that game wholeheartedly, I defend it for not being that bad of a game, people still think it's shit, and they merely look at the controls of that game to be one of the problems. And this game kind of takes that. It kind of takes that issue with the control thing, with the left analog stick basically doing a majority of what the tricks are going to be like. And the way they are mimics what Simpsons Skateboarding did, so yeah, not a great thing. Also, there is the buttons. Square happens to be flip tricks. R1 happens to be able to do air tricks, or grab tricks. And the circle button is, I believe, the grab trick. So, square and circle, flip and grab, makes sense. R1 being an air trick thing. They separated what is essentially another kind of grab trick into a different button category where spin would usually be. In fact, spin is L2 and R2, which, I mean, that's fine. But it does make things rather awkward, and I'm going to end up forgetting to spin much in this game. Because even though it's incredibly helpful, you'll find that there are things in this game that do a whole lot more without the need of spin at all. You will eventually have to incorporate spinning, however, in order to take care of some score challenges, but you can get through without needing it. Except with switching, which I am basically never going to do. Switching is the same button as spinning, by the way. So it makes sense, but at the same time, it does get a bit annoying because of how spins work in this game, which is rather jank. Power sliding here, in order to, actually stop and shit, you will need to essentially double tap down in order to do a power slide, which is a brake. There's no brake button in this game. You can't hold back in order to brake very well. So power sliding is the best option you got to stop quickly. And there's these are some points, luckily, but yeah, it's not that great. There's also grinds. There's no balance mirror in this game. You can only tell you're balancing by your skaters. So it's one of those fucking games when it comes to balancing. That being said, they do a decent enough job at showing when you're about to fall off or not. And the biggest issue is they kind of reset your balance a lot when you're jumping and grinding constantly, which you're going to be doing. So yeah. And by the way, if you want to get big scores, you are going to utilize the grinds. There's no question about it. This is a very grind-heavy sort of fucking game. You will also be using air tricks, honestly. Air tricks do help you out a lot as well. Except, you can only do like a small amount of combos out of it. Because while there is a manual in this game, the manual in this game is absolutely fucking useless. It is the kind of manual where it is essentially just an end trick. It doesn't help you with your combo. You can't keep a combo going with it. You can't jump off a manual into a grind. You can't use it up to a ramp. You can't even revert, really. Well, you sort of can by doing the manual thing after jumping. No, you can't, really. You can do a manual when you jump off a rail, but if you land on a ramp, you can't continue that combo. If you fucking try to jump off the manual, you can't. If you try to manual to a ramp to jump, you can't. It'll stop the fucking combo. So yeah, not a whole lot of good stuff there. Slip tricks as well. Slip tricks give you a lot of points, honestly, a good 1,000 every time, but they are ultimately still useless in this game, so you're not going to use it much. And wall riding is awkward. It works the same way as we usually do with, you know, get a bit of an angle, jump, press triangle. However, if you hold onto the button and you get to the ground, usually you just land it. You don't have a bail thing happening for wall riding. In this game, if you hold the triangle button on a wall ride and then get to the ground level, you bail. So you have to let go of the wall ride before you fucking touch the ground. Which, this is the only game I've ever seen where they punish you for not letting go of the wall ride button. And in case you're wondering, you also can't jump off a fucking wall ride either. There's no wallies in this game, so there's that as well. So now comes slip tricks, and you might notice that there are certain directions that are showing up with this. When we get into the tutorial stuff, when we actually play through this, you have to do the direction they show you. And you also have to do it on the spots they show you on the left there. Whenever it's a ramp, you have to do it on a ramp. Once you do it a kicker, you have to do it in a kicker. When you have to do like a specific grind thing, you have to go to specific grinds. And when you have to do it from the ground, you have to do it from the fucking ground. So, yeah, there's a lot of shit you gotta look at. And there's a lot of shit you gotta deal with. And yes, you can hold on to your air and grab tricks. By the way, I switched it around. Grab is R1, air is circle, so it's a bit backwards there. The game, that's a lip grind, by the way. It's just a normal grind, but you only get like a few seconds, like a bit of a, you know, kiss the rail sort of deal. There's also, you know, the lip plant thing. But, yeah, there's the air tricks and the fucking grab tricks. Grab tricks are considered to be, like, shorter in length, like they're quicker. I honestly find the air tricks here of the circle button to be quicker because the animation for them is usually lesser than the trick you would have to do for the R1 one. And not only that, but I believe with the R1 button, you have a special, which is the 900, which is the longest special trick in the fucking game that every skater has, essentially. Which just says so much about how this game feels about the 900 at this point. And lastly, the special techniques, which is where the specials come in. There are two kinds of specials. There is the special flip, grab, and air, and then there's the super move. You might notice there's a gauge up atop there, a special gauge, and there's like 2 bars there. There are 3 gauges, 3 bars for the special flippers, and, you know, the grabs and airs. And then you have to get the whole maximum bar in order to get a super move going. And yeah, as you can see, the combo thing we have to do is specific combos. But 5 combo making is your feelings. So that's letting you do whatever you want to do to get that combo. And guess what? The game here is deciding to use the grinds. Already telling you that if you want to get big fucking combo numbers, you are going to be abusing the grind. Okay, so first of all, the gauge there, special flip, grab, and air. You just basically tap up and then press any of those buttons and you do it. That's all you can do. There's no double down button, there's no like double left right button thing. It's only double up and then the button. And it's always just special flip, special kick, and all that crap. But yeah, it's usually like, you know, the 900, I forgot the name of it, a Madonna, I believe, or whatever it was called, and McTwist, I mean, and the special flip. And lastly is the super move. This is the skater's special move. So for this one, it's kickflip lazy boy, which I believe is for Bob here. I believe we're playing as Bob Burnquist here. Which, by the way, Bob is the only person from Tony Hawk appearing here. So, you know, this is Bob's game, essentially. He wanted his own game outside of Tony Hawk. So this is his fucking, you know, this is his spotlight. Go! And even then, I'm not going to play as him much, because we know who the real spotlight is in this. Anybody who knows of Insectic 47 who's played this game beforehand knows whose spotlight this is. Oh, by the way, when it comes to how much air you get, it can be very variable. It usually comes down to the skateboard you use. Later on, there's going to be a point where we're going to get a skateboard which is so fucking shit that we can barely do anything on it, and it's impossible to even do anything on it. You'll see what I mean when we get to that. It is abhorrent. It is fucking terrible. Also, you might notice that down below it keeps saying some stuff like a number of the names. That's the music, and you can switch the music with the R stick. I never do that because, one, the R stick is just kind of useless in the game outside of switching the soundtrack, and two, soundtrack's muted. So, I mean, why am I going to switch the sounds, like the songs, if there's no songs playing? But just want to let you know that the right stick does change the music in-game.
Ready? Go!
So yeah, I'm just going to get through all 5 of these. You've already seen them being done. I'm going to get through them as fast as I can and such. It's mainly what happens after you complete the first 5. Because right now they're only showing you these first 5, and you're like, okay, the game showed us how to do it. All I gotta do now is just get out of the way and then move on. And, by the way, you might notice that the spin trick on the kicker didn't count. It has to be from a ramp. It has to be a 360 as well, or 540. So, yeah, the game is going to force you to do things in specific ways in the tutorial, and it is kinda iffy. If you don't know it immediately that it's doing that, you're gonna end up kinda being like, what's going on? Why isn't it fucking unlocking? This is pissing me off. So, yeah, flip trick on here, and that's the flip trick there. If I did it on the floor, it wouldn't count. If I did it on the ramp, it wouldn't count. I can only do the grabs and air tricks on the ramps. If I do it on a kicker on the ground, it won't work. And it has to be a specific fucking thing. So, you know, I have to do a specific trick on it. You see a sad plant? Not the right one. It has to be a rock and roll. Well, that's the trick for that one. And look right there for that one. And there you go. And lastly, the special trick stuff. This is where the combos come in. This is where the specials come in. The combos, I honestly had a bit of trouble with because it's really awkward. You're noticing that one of the combos here, the 2 combo, has a rotation thing of down to up. And you might notice that as I'm trying to do, I'm doing a backflip, and it's not counted because that's not the right trick. This was a problem. Yeah, it's Japan. This is a problem that existed when it came to sets of skateboarding, where you had tricks that mainly just utilized you having to spin the stick around in a direction in order to take care of a trick. And eventually, a special trick thing would end up being a whole rotation of the fucking, like, bullshit. And the thing is, in order to get the really good tricks in this game, you have to do just that. When it comes to special tricks and such, you know, the all special move thing, or fucking your actual special move for each skater. But if you want to do something like what I said beforehand, a McTwist, a 900, what have you, you have to do what you would do in the System Skateboarding game, which is you have to spin your stick in a full rotation. Twice. Now, instead of skateboarding, it was only once, but you already know that it wasn't going to fucking work because it was very bugged on that. I had to do it twice. I'm doing it again here in this game. Ain't that fun? And hey, now it's showing us 5 more levels, and now it's telling us to get 30,000 points. This is the arcade mode thing popping in. This is essentially the game showing you what arcade mode is going to be like. It has all the bonus, bonus pickups around here, and it also tells you to get a certain score. There is 2 scores in every arcade challenge, and there's like a simple one, like a basic, easy one, and a hard one, essentially. And they do get harder as you continue on forward. In fact, if you're wondering what the biggest score in the game is going to be, it's mainly going to be 100,000 points. 100,000 is essentially our 1 million in this game. We don't get that much time to get, like, actual 1 million, so, yeah. Oh, now it's time for this one. Knock over 5 garbage cans.
Ready?
So,
Go.
this is the other one, the destruction one. You have to go around, destroy certain things, which for here is just garbage cans. If you run into it, it will just bump you like that. However, you can bump into it from the ground if you do it, like, in a weird diagonal way. The easiest way, however, is to jump into it, which isn't always the easiest thing, because sometimes it can be very small, but ultimately, for these sort of things, jumping into them is the easiest way of taking care of the breakable. Alright, next up after that, we have, I believe, a collectible thing next? Yeah, a checkpoint. So, this is the checkpoint run. There are numbered balls around, up to about, like, 6, mainly. And you have to go and grab all of them. And they sometimes are a decent line, sometimes in a really out-of-the-way shitty line that makes no fucking sense. And sometimes it can be done in about a minute. Then it takes almost the entire fucking, like, time limit you have to take care of all the checkpoints. So, yeah. And, yeah, get ready. It's gonna get rather awkward on the aiming thing and actually, you know, being able to get these jumps here. Because steering, being able to turn this game, really stiff, really awkward, not really fun. Same with jumping. Jumping can be very awkward. You'll find the way jumping works can be really detrimental to how much you can get fucked over. Here comes the combo thing, which requires you to basically get a certain combo. These will increase over time, like every 2 or 3 levels, like 2 or 1 levels. And essentially, all I do is just get the number you see there. Now, in arcade mode, all it wants you to do is get the number. It doesn't care if you land it. The tutorial does care. It's the only time any of these combo challenges cares about you landing it. Whereas in arcade mode, you can just get the number, bail, and you got it done. And lastly, it is the X Games emblem. This is essentially our tape. And this is the hardest one in the practice when it comes to these 10 levels, because grabbing this fucking emblem is actually annoying. So here's what you gotta do here. Get some speed from a ramp or what have you, jump up, grind that spot there to that water tower thing, and then at the very top, jump off, and you should be able to grab that in the middle of the air, just jumping right over the water tower. You otherwise cannot reach the fucking thing. See? Really fucking annoying. And I will tell you right now, it did sometimes take me like, you know, 1 or 2 more tries in a retry to get this. I do get it eventually though on this try. See that? My practice was really fucked with this. And the game tells us to show your next stage, the skills off next stage, which is for arcade. We're not doing arcade in this part, however. Instead, we're now going to go ahead and check out the applied demo, which is essentially the only demo video in the game. Actually, I think there is other demos in this game where the game will show you the gameplay in itself. But this is one where you can actually select it and, like, watch it. And, yeah, might as well. But, yeah. One thing I've been noticing, by the way, is the style this game has. The way the sounds are. The way the graphics look and such. Basically, this is what Aggressive Inline was doing. In fact, another game out there that's very much what this game is essentially kind of copying from is Evolution Skateboarding. So, yeah, eventually I'm going to get into Evolution Skateboarding. I'm eventually going to show off that game, because that's going to be an interesting one to look into. You've seen demo play of it, but, yeah, the full game is going to be very interesting, considering how popular Evolution Skateboarding was, even though it never got anywhere more than 1 game, really. Like, it did get a different thing, Evolution Snowboarding, I believe, but outside of that, it never got anything else, and it just kind of died. Evolution Skateboarding was the best of its own thing. And yeah, that's practice mode done. So now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go into X Games mode. This is this game's unique mode because it's essentially the X Games contest area. In fact, it's the only competitions in the game. And all you do here is go for gold, essentially. Get the number of points to win and get the gold. Here is Bob Burnquist. There's also Chris Sen, Colin McKay, Carrie Getz, our boy Rick McCrank, Chad Fernandez, Lincoln Uda, and Carlos D. Ardardrade. Sorry, I fucked it up. Anyway, I'm playing as Rick McCrank because Rick McCrank is the fucking man. And we're going to go through the entire game as Rick McCrank, essentially. Except for when I have to get decks. As you can see, there are decks in this game. And the way you get them is really awkward. We'll see what I mean when we get to that in arcade. But, yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, there are two different kinds of decks. There are the secret decks, which are for each skater. And then there's special decks, which every skater can use. There are two special decks in X Games mode, but the way you unlock them is tedious. It's just really fucking shit. You'll see what I mean when we get to it. But right now it's X Games Vert and X Games Park. Vert wants you to get the biggest number of fucking tricks done, whereas X Games Park wants you to take up the entire area. That second description, by the way, about taking the entire area thing, doesn't apply in this game at all. In fact, the way the scores work is kind of random. But the most important part is getting a big score. Let's go. So yeah, you just notice on the bottom there, it said 100-point score thing, and it's like a free run thing. It's the usual competition thing. You just gotta get the best of 2 runs, and you're good to go, right? Well, I thought that, but the way this one works is different. It more cares about your absolute best run than it cares about your overall, thing. So if you are able to get like a 99 in your first run, and you get like 50 in your next 2, you're still going to get first. And yeah, there's the 900 right there. There's a Varia, which is going to be the most useful of all the tricks there. And it's a special flip. And the last one is the McTwist, which is the grab one. Except the way you get these fucking tricks is awkward as all hell. Some of them don't fucking work because of the very fact that the game just sort of bugs out about it. It's kind of shit because of it. Also, depending on if you switch or not, the scores can actually reset themselves. If you keep doing the same trick over and over again, it will start losing its points. But if you're doing it from like a normal stance, regular, and then you go on the switch and you do that shit, it goes up to 3,000. So, you know, if you were getting like the 3,000 beforehand, and then you're starting against 750, you switch, and then it's up to 3,000, and you just keep going from there. The switch is useful on getting that big score going, because it can reset the score essentially for yourself. Momentarily, of course, because then switch starts getting affected. But ultimately, it does get useful at basically giving you those big combos. The biggest issue, however, comes down to the trick thing. So here's the biggest issue. You have to spin as soon as you're in the air. Not before you're in the air, as soon as you're in the air. Remember, because spin is also switch. So pressing switch in the ground just makes the switch animation happen. And it can basically fuck your jump up, and it can even basically fuck your entire combo up. But then in the middle of that, you have to do the whole burial trick or whatever, like 900 whatever. And that requires you to do two full rotations on the analog stick to get those tricks. And that's the best way of getting the tricks, really, getting the score, really, when it comes to this game. Of doing a flip trick, or 2 flip tricks, got a lot of air going, a lot of speed going, and then doing the burial trick, essentially. That will give you at least nearly 30,000 points in one combo. And you do that twice, one on one switch, easy 50,000 points, almost 60,000 points even. Like, it is really easy scores from there on out. The biggest issue, however, is actually performing it, because the game has that issue of registering it, which it has a hard time doing that. And if you're spinning, it has an even worse time registering it. You're doing the whole analog spin trick thing. So it becomes a bigger fucking issue. And the thing is, the spin does help because it acts as a multiple multiplier. Even though you already get multipliers already from getting more than one trick going, you can see from the combo thing there, you get an additional multiplier from spinning. And each full rotation gives you that spin. The maximum spin you can get, however, is a 900. It is essentially getting a 3.5x by the spin number. Usually you'll get a 720 though, but your best spin will be 3.5 for the 900. And also I just went through the ground. So now I'm going to jump cut over to me doing Vert. I got the gold, very easy gold. These are very easy to get gold in, by the way. But yeah, next up, we're going into Street, or Park. It's basically street, though.
Here we go. We're about to get underway live with our 2001 X Games. The first rider in the round is Rick McCrank from Vancouver, Canada. Come on, everybody, make some noise.
What's funny is that the bottom there says Top 8 Advance. There's nothing else after these contests. You just do it the one time and you're done. Like, seriously, there are no other opponents. There's no, like, elimination thing going on. It's just kind of silly. Also, if you're not really going that fast, which on the ramp is kind of awkward, you'll just automatically bail randomly. It's really fucking weird. But yeah, this is how you're going to be getting most of your combos and scores going. By abusing the grinds like so. Which, as you can see, yeah, the scores are starting to get, really shitty, but if you keep doing this, you'll be fine. And you want to keep jumping and grind, by the way. If you try to hold the grind, eventually the game just kicks you out of the grind. It does not fucking care that you're balancing well. It will just kick you immediately out of it. Also, hard late flip, I believe, is McCrank's special move, his super move. So yeah, really good. It's always 6,000 points, by the way. So that's the most high-scoring single trick. Whereas, the next one is the double rotation tricks like the Varial, the 900, and the McTwist. It's also sometimes the longest trick to do, the super move. So you'll more likely only get like one trick and then super move, and that can give you a shit ton of points, because it gives you double 6,000, so that's like 12,000 right there. But as you can see, doing this gives us nearly 30,000, so I mean, yeah, as you can see, I can kill the competition with just varial flips and this shit alone. Special flips to just add to it, essentially. But yeah, you can see how easy it is to get the score here when you know about the whole, full rotation thing. The biggest issue, however, comes in actually performing it. As I told you beforehand, it's very awkward, it doesn't always register very well, and if you're spinning, it registers even worse. But when it does work, with the spin going on as well, you get fuck tons of points. It becomes super useful. There's the McTwist right there. So yeah, I'm not going to show off everyone's super move, unfortunately, but I will show off some special ones that are unique, at least, with specific characters, like, way later on in the fucking Let's Play. Also, that run there, 98.75, that is the best run of this run, and, yeah, as you will see, my best score, my top score, is going to stay that way. So, I can just be absolute dog shit in run 2 and 3, and I'll still be first, because I got 98.75, and the AI cannot do any better than, like, 93%, like 93 out of 100 or whatever. Whereas you can get fucking 99.75, and you're basically a winner by default. In case you're wondering, by the way, I don't think it's even possible to get 100. I haven't seen anyone done it, and I've tried, like, hard to do it, and the absolute best I can manage is a 99.75. Like, it is impossible to get an 100, and the way it works is just weird, too. You'd think it would revolve around the tricks you do, the scores you get, and all of that. But as you saw there, I got better score, but I got less number. I got a 97.50, whereas the other one, I had less score going on with that one, and that was a 98.75. So, like, I can get a 200,000 score, which is possible, by the way. I can get 200,000 points in this fucking competition, and the game will give me, like, a 97.25 for it. But then I just get, like, fucking 95,000 points, and I would get 99.75 out of it. And it's just really weird how that works. It's honestly extremely random. All it cares about is that you meet a threshold on a score, which honestly is about like 70,000 points, I believe, and then you just get like a random number from there. But yeah, ultimately, it's just like, I don't know what else would even trigger shit to give you more of a score. But yeah, as you see, it's just getting low, even though my score was pretty close to that one still. It's just really weird. And we're not done yet. In order for you to actually get the board, which I mentioned beforehand, you don't just win gold. No. You have to win gold 5 times. So, I'm gonna jump cut to me doing that. Because it is the most time-expensive and stupid padding I've ever fucking seen. It's just garbage. So, yeah, if you want to get these boards, you have to fucking beat the fucking Vert and the park area of X Games 5 times. You have to get gold 5 fucking times, and you get a special board out of both. So yeah, two special boards, and you can only get them by essentially doing the exact same contest 5 times and getting gold 5 times. It's just padding. It's just immense, stupid padding. And the boards you get are unique because there are very special boards that have essentially a special requirement to them. But yeah, there's my total right there, 99.75. You can see I got over 200,000 points in park. Could have gone in the Vert as well. But yeah, as you can see, really easy to get shit done. Here's the first one. It's got a fucking horror thing, I believe. And this one over here is like a cartoon thing. Cartoon board's called. But yeah, those are the boards. You can see from the side there, it says additional sound effects. These have their own sounds, and I'll show them in the next part. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this part. Next time we go on to arcade mode, which is actually the main mode of the game. We're gonna be doing the actual levels and such this game has, the actual challenges this game has, and of course unlocking the boards and dealing with this game's many challenges and areas. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time for the first few levels of arcade mode.